Happening, YouTube? Eugene here. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope your minds are clear, your hearts are full, your souls are guiding you, taking you. Where are we going? Where are our souls taking us? Where do we want to go? Where do we want to be a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now? Where do you want to be? And how are you going to get there? What are you doing to get there? What are you doing? You need a plan. Now, to have a plan, you need a goal. To have a goal, you need dreams. To dream, you just need to be human and experience and come to terms with what you enjoy doing most. And then we start piecing everything together. We start writing and imagining and dreaming and just focusing on what we need to do. Focus, focus, focus. Right. Meditate. Raise your frequency. Raise your vibration. And then when you start raising your frequency, you yourself start to become attracted to higher frequency things and things that you're in tune and aligned with, right? Getting away from lower vibrations and icky, that. Getting rid of the ick in the body, not the bottle. Ick in the, that would be a good perfume, ick in the bottle. Ick in the body is what you want to get rid of. You know that ick, everybody's got that ick, but they don't know what it's coming from. And that is what you got to get away from. The ick is what keeps you feeling stuck, separated, angry, in fear, dysregulated, combative, argumentative, lonely, worthless. A lot of it, the ick brings up all of those feelings, and it just depends on which one you want to feel. And then you got to express the ick. The ick doesn't come without side effects. You have to express the ick. And how do you do that? Well, the best way you know how. How did you do it as a child? That's how you do it now. You continue. You're just like a big person baby now. Right? So we got to raise our frequency. Get rid of that ick. We understand where the ick came from, right? We know why the ick is coming up in the body, because that's just an emotion. That's just natural human behavior, is to constantly feel emotions, hundreds, thousands of them all day long. Now, to sit in there and let those, each and every one of those, trap you is what the ick is. Those should flow consciously through you. Yes, you become aware of it, you feel it, and you breathe it in and through the body. And the more you start raising your frequency by being out in nature, outdoors, with animals, with babies. Babies have a very high frequency because they're brand new and they're perfect. Babies are innocent, and they are non-judgmental, and they're the purest form of love. All they know is love. All they want is to be loved. Babies are always very, it feels great holding a baby, right? It's memorable. Everybody remembers holding a baby, right? Reading books raises frequency. Exercising raises frequency. Meditating raises frequency. All of those things, they help to get rid of the internal programming that we're stuck under, that we're like, we have this spell under. And that's that internal programming and the ick, they kind of go hand in hand, but they're separated. They don't feel each other and they're not aligned, and that's exactly why the dysregulation comes from. So But we're gonna get there. We're on our way. We're on our way there now. I can feel it. And where we're going is, it's just as beautiful as it is right here, right now, you know. Nothing really changes, but everything changes. The illusion changes. The illusion, the outside physical reality, the illusion changes. Inside, everything always continues to remain. You just go through those emotions, those feelings. You create new ones. But it's all through this physical third dimensional programming that we're running. That's what changes every single moment. And it's when you can consciously connect to these moments, separate from the pain, separate from the illusion of the ick, right? And you become one with this moment at all times. You're just conscious, and you're here with the moment, connecting to it, allowing everything to flow through you, one with breath, one with the space. You become the space. You separate from the body, the mind, and you become the space in between everything. And everything that comes into that space, that's what you are. You become one. Everything is oneness. That's buzzing at a really high frequency, though. And it's not always easy to hold. Sometimes it's, obviously you have to live life, and you come across situations and people and things that need your attention, and it separates you from that. And all of these things can sometimes become a distraction. So you have to learn a way to cope, to run both operations, because that's what's required to be a human. You have to cope somehow. You find the best way to cope, and if you don't learn how to cope, you're going to end up coping on something else. I did come here to review something. How do I always get lost? I always end up off track. And I think that's the best part I love about myself, is I give myself the freedom and permission to talk about whatever I want. And I know that whatever I do on my channel, whatever I talk about, it's like there's nothing I can do to or say that will tarnish it, you know? There's nothing that will cancel me. I can't be canceled. There's nothing I can say or do to be canceled. That's not possible. I don't believe that's possible. But I also live in the illusion of my own world, you know. I don't live in other people's ideas, right? In the world that I live in, I get to make my own rules. And that's what works for me, right? So I've created this world in my head that works. Everything that's happening, I am the center of the world, and everything that is happening for me. Everything, every situation, every circumstance, every relationship, every person I come across, even for a single split second, is to teach me something. It's in that moment, and I have to be aware of that moment in order to take that lesson, to learn something, and to apply it somehow, to use it, to save it, to figure something out. You know, every single moment, every single person that comes into my life is meant for a reason. And if the reason if the reason isn't beneficial to me, there's just no reason to hold on to weight, right? Everything has purpose, and I align purpose to it to take me to, as we were talking about earlier, these places, this future dimension that isn't here, where I want to go, where I plan on going, where I'm going to be, where I'm going to end up. Yeah, and sometimes, the world works in really mysterious ways, and they send these messages in places you would never expect. And that's the best part. Like, that is the greatest part, is there's always something. Every moment there's an opportunity for something new to discover or learn or appreciate or just enjoy. Just enjoy, like enjoying life that way, instead of my past life was very archaic and very fear responsed, like there's a lot of trauma there, obviously, right? And you can tell, I mean, just by observing somebody's behavior and how they speak and how they act and how they hold themselves and present themselves, and just the words that they use, kind of what it says a lot about a person, obviously, right? It tells a lot about a person. You know what I mean, right? Without making a sweeping statement, but being connected feels so much. I feel so much more alive. So much more alive. My eyes are open. I see, I hear, I feel. I feel so much more alive. In the past life, I just felt dead. I felt like there was nothing there. There was nothing. I had nothing living inside of me. All the best parts of my life back then were things that I found outside of me, in other people and things and experiences, right? And sometimes, those things, they cost a lot of money, they cost a lot of heartache, they cost a lot of trouble. Sometimes they cost a lot of trouble. You find joy in trouble, right? I mean, that's always fun. I always have great memories, but now it's very different. Now I find all those same similar feelings inside of me. They live inside of me. They exist inside of my own heart, my own body. And I don't need to go outside of that place for fulfillment, for joy, for pleasure, for connection. I'm so connected, to the universe, and it's been my deepest relationship to anything ever. I mean, I've had so many great, wonderful, beautiful relationships, but nothing, and every single relationship, like I said, every person that comes into your life, even for a moment, it's to teach you about yourself, your mother, your brother, your father, your sister, all the people you work with, the people you've dated, it's all to take you back. But nothing has taught me a greater, deeper lesson about myself than my relationship to the earth, to nature, to oneness, to God, to presence, to love, and to live with an open heart has been my guiding light. And it's been a map for me, showing me exactly where I need to go, what I need to do. It's literally a blueprint. It's laid out a blueprint. It has, just like an AI, it has designed a blueprint and laid it out for me and says, this is what you need to do. And believe in yourself, because the universe believes in you. And that is reaffirmed to me every single day. Every single day. And it's the greatest feeling. It is truly the greatest feeling. And, there's so many things that I do in return for this. Like, I take care of my body in return, because this is what the universe expects from me. I'm just told the message is to go to the gym and work on your body, work on your health. Working on your body will also improve your mental health. So I listen to the messages, and they're not steering me wrong. So the messages also say, you know, eat healthier. Throw out all the processed food. Stop eating so much processed food. Have a little bit, but get rid of most of it. So I started eating more natural food, a lot more natural fruits. If I want something sweet, I'm eating like I'll have a dry date or something, you know, I'll have a really small date or two, you know, instead of like a bag of chips or some ice cream or cookies, you know. So it's like the messages come in loud and clear. They're very strong. They're very accurate. They're always pinpoint accurate. They've never missed. They've never missed. The messages have never missed, you know, so I have complete faith in the messages. And the messages come from in. They are guiding light. And I will forever and ever and ever always side and choose with the messages that live within than any message that comes from outside of me. If it doesn't feel right to me, it's a no. It's an absolute no. It's no. This is my temple, and it belongs to me, not to anybody or any government. No. Somebody asked to talk about the universe. So I think that's where this is coming from. In the last video, somebody said, "Can you talk about the universe?" And I love the universe. I love all the newness, the quirkiness, the kind of the people, the faces, the personalities, the characters. Watching people, observing them, you just learn so much about yourself from the, you know, mimicking their actions, like watching them and then catch yourself doing the same thing and kind of connecting all the dots, you know. And then even the way you can reprogram your subconscious mind, it's just so, it's so brilliant, you know. The subconscious is just a program. You get to program it with whatever you want. You know, you could be looking at, you can be two people watching this right now on video, and one person going, yeah, this guy he really knows what he's talking about, and another guy going, what an idiot. Like, you know, your programming is everything. You can reprogram your mind to think any way you want. And when you're connected with the universe, the majority of your thoughts are positive, and you really, you know, you lose a part of your identity, your personality, but you gain so much more that kind of like social part of being a human doesn't even compare to the joys of, I mean, no, don't get me wrong. Social part of human is a necessary thing, and it's a beautiful thing when it comes from a place of love and respect and admiration and support and guidance and nurturing and being there. But in a society, like, I'm talking more like a, you know, a corrupt society where, not even corrupt, but just like, getting out of that, pulling yourself out of that gossip and drama and needing to feed into the chaos and the ick, you know, more of the ick. So you lose kind of like your sense of self in that regards, but you gain so much more in the joys of real love, of real life, of real blessings, you know, of more deeper, meaningful things. So the trade-off is huge. And reprogramming your mind, that for me that all started as kind of like a project, you know. It started as an exercise, and after I went through my breakup, I said, I'm gonna try this. Like, I was depressed as fuck, you know. When I was creating Les Abstraits, I was so depressed and lonely and sad and scared, and didn't know, like, I didn't know anything. I didn't want to work anymore. I didn't want to do a lot of things. I didn't even want to be here. Like, I felt for a long time like I didn't want to be here. All I had was my kids. It's like just being with my kids really helped me stay grounded and focused on what I wanted to do. And I said, like, I'm gonna try consciously reprogramming my mind. And it's been so fascinating to watch. And I've done it, you know, and I just said, like, I am going to watch the way I speak to myself. I'm going to watch the way I speak to other people. I'm going to watch my thoughts, my words. I'm going to use only positive words that work. I'm going to try to stop judging people. I'm going to try and stop doing these negative things. I'm going to do things that only benefit. I'm going to use my time wisely, you know. And it was hard at first, of course, but, you know, every time you catch yourself and you observe it and you make the changes, and eventually, you know, the mind starts to shift. It makes a huge shift. And if you write about it and you journal about it, it pushes those shifts even further, and it helps along, and it starts making shifts, and you don't even need to do anything. It's like the mind does everything on its own. You know, the mind is the program. The mind is doing all the things in the background while you're sleeping, the same way it does, like, when it processes, like, your organs are processing themselves. You don't put any thought into that, and the mind works, it reprograms itself the exact same way. So that's been a really great exercise, and one that I'm going to continue doing, you know, forever, because it's only beneficial. Everything has worked out for me. Journaling has been really important. I started journaling and writing, and, you know, writing my goals and my dreams, and I would just write. Even though I had nothing to say, I would just write and continue to write. And I would write about Les Abstraits and what I wanted it to become, and I wanted it to, you know, I wanted to grow it as big as I can. Like, but first I just wanted to get 3 perfumes, you know. I wanted to find a perfumer. I wanted to find a name. I wanted to find, like, kind of like create a brand image, and all that was consciously created. You know, you sit there and you write and you plan, and things start, you know, when you take action on those, you can't just sit there and think. Now you got to get up and go and do stuff, and you things just start happening, you know. They start coming alive. And especially, like, things now for me are getting really exciting, with all, like, there's been a lot of commotion around trying Les Abstraits, and now, like, I mean, that's really exciting too, right? That's been really exciting, but now everything is starting to come to life, you know. All those things that at one time in that different dimension in the past, which was, I could have sat there and wasted my time, you know, doing whatever, watching Toronto Maple Leafs or going to the movies. But no, I sat there and I was sad and depressed and lonely and weird. Like, I'm always weird and stuff, doing whatever I feel like doing, which is I love. That's my freedom. I feel free in doing and expressing myself, right? But that's what I want it to do. I want it to chase that sparkle that lived inside of me. That was a dream. That was, and I gave myself the permission to believe in it and chase it, you know. And that came from a lot of having to change my mindset. I couldn't have done this before with a similar mindset, from, you know, the mindset of anger, fear, resentment. But, you know, I just keep listening to the messages of the universe, what the universe has to say, the guidance, the support. The support comes in the form of, in many ways. And it's beautiful to see how even past relationships that I've struggled with, how they open up now, and they become new friendships, new relationships, people I can trust, instead of people that I was combative with And that's been a really beautiful process too. And it's been a really interesting ride, like from my perspective as a human being here, like as a middle-aged man, and just watching life unfold, and all kind of like the synchronicities and the connections and the understanding. You never understand from now looking forward, but once you get there and you look back, it's so much easier. Like the picture is so much clearer, like the understanding, you know, why everything had happened, why these painful things had happened. All those painful moments, you know, the breakup or whatever had happened, those were all course corrections. Those were all to get me back to alignment of finding my deepest purpose. All the pain. And it was because, you know, the pain was all my responsibility, because I kept going against my beliefs. I kept going with the mind, with what I thought the mind wanted. The mind wants these pleasures to feel good, when I knew inside, when the soul knew they didn't feel right. I neglected the soul. I stopped listening to that inner voice, and I got away from myself. And I gave myself away in all those instances. Every instance, I gave myself away in trade-off of the hope of happiness, which was all very short-term. It was beautiful, but it was short-term. It was short-term. And now this is forever. Like the home that I've built inside of me now is forever. This is mine. Nobody can take this away. This is all mine. This belongs to me, and it's given to the people that are important to me, the people in my life, my friends and my family, and all the people that I care about. And even like I never really understood the perfume thing when it started. I was like, this is so bizarre. But the deeper I started, like the deeper I got into perfume, the more I got into perfume, it's like I was wearing perfume more than just to smell good. It was like every time I wore, not every time, but lots of times, I was like, I would feel things inside of me. Like I would feel these movements and these little jolts, you know. It's like, ooh, I like that. Like, what is that? You know, what, like, why, what is doing that? What is, I want more. I want more of that. And I chased that. I was like addicted to that feeling that perfume brought up inside of me. Almost like a ghost, you know? But you can feel like your soul is coming out and it's doing the tango. You're really enjoying that perfume, right? And you're just twirling around with your soul. It's like perfume is like music for the soul. That's what it feels like. And the soul comes out, the spirit, whatever that life force energy is inside of you, and it just comes out and it's looking for a good time. Perfume's always done that for me. Special perfumes. Shalimar, Mitsuko, Voldenui, 5. Yeah, 5. Lots of Chanels have done that. Lots of Guerlains have done that. Lots of Frederic Malls have done that. Frederic Mull's been a huge inspiration. I loved, when I first got into perfume, like I got into it in a time and place where I was very fresh and I didn't know a lot of things in the background, and I quickly discovered Frederic Mull, not just the brand, but the person behind the brand. And I would look for him on the internet. I would search like for this person on the internet, and I wanted to know everything that they had to say about Perfume because I was just so, I felt connected to this person, you know. Here's this here's this like this little French man that's like bougily dressed and perfectly manicured, and he's got a little bit of pep to him, you know. You know how he is, like really handsome, and just like he's perfect, the perfect Frenchman, right? The gentleman, the promoncieur, right? Always dressed in these fancy patterns, and I love his Bauhaus style. But I was just like, everything he had to say about Perfume was important and relevant to me and interesting, right? It was very interesting because he didn't love everything. He was very like, you know, he was very moody. He was very moody and very selective of what he liked. And yeah, he was expressive, and I loved that. You know, I saw that. I saw parts of myself in him, and I loved that. People that can express themselves deeper than yeah, he's been a big inspiration. I mean, there's been I've had lots of inspirations. I've always been in love with Chanel's style. So elegant, so classy, so timeless. It's like listening to classical music, wearing like Chanel Cristal or number 19, Antaeus, Egoist, Coco. Come on, Coco. It's like listening to classical, all of it. Coco is like Bach. Coco is very heavy, has a huge bass, just like Bach. Bach is deep and heavy. But you know, I love their powders, their fruit, and like their powders are so edible. You know, I want to sometimes eat them, and especially like smelling that on a woman. How can you not get like, perfume is very sexual, you know. It does last an imprint on the mind. You always remember like what the last scent was your partner wore when, you know, when you were intimate, or not even the last, but every, like that smell of her or him, whatever your desire is. I mean, that alone creates an impression, you know, just the scent, a very vivid impression. Not just an impression, but like maybe a good clip, you know. It's not just an image, but it's like you can see the video version of it in your head. That's another thing that's always drawn me to perfume. The memories. I've made so many memories just through this, like remembering the scent. If I'll smell a scent and it'll take me back to things that I did with my kids or the family, or special moments that I never want to forget. And drop your sense of the day. Drop your sense of the day in the comments, or drop any other questions or comments. You know, I have no idea where we are now. 34 minutes, and where was I going? I was going to raise my frequency, which I'm about to go in there and get my blood pumping. You know, that is one of the best feelings for me in the world, is working out and getting the blood pumping and breathing with that flow of the pump. it feels really good, and it releases a lot of good feeling hormones, endorphins. And you know, while I'm getting that pump, there's I think in my mind, like, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. There's nothing else I'd rather be doing than doing this. And it's the body rewarding you for taking care of it. That's what it feels like, a reward system. Take care of me and I will take care of you. And that's the vibration. And I just follow along because it feels good and it feels right, and that's the message. That's the message. What does your messages say to you? Do you guys get messages? What have been some of your strongest messages or discoveries? I'd love to know. I'm telling you all of my stuff. I have no fear. I have no shame. I believe in it's just my stuff. It's just a program. But let me know. Let us know about your programs. Read us your poetry. I'd love to hear your poetry. Your deepest secrets. Your fears. Your worries. But also tell us about your loves. Tell us about your dreams, your goals, your connections. What you're doing to raise your vibration, what you're doing to raise your frequency. How are you staying healthy? Tell us whatever you want us to know. I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. We'll do this again. This was fun. We'll do this again, all right? Bye. Bye, everybody.